Okay, in this segment we're going to go into a couple of features in a little more detail. Again, like we just explained, there's a series of hollow circles. The inside diameter of all of these hollow circles is 10 inches or a head at the given distance. There's your head at 100 yards, head at 200, 300, 400, and so on, okay? So those are your hollow circles, those are heads. As I just pointed out, the gaps, which we refer to as half clicks, and the dashes, which we refer to as clicks, are 10 inches at the given distances. That's basically a body width, okay, a man sideways, okay? So if you're leading a man running or walking, because in the military I was taught to lead him in body widths. Here's one body width, here's two body widths, here's three body widths, okay? As I pointed out before, can you see those little indicator lines here? These are walking man leads at 400 yards. These are running man leads at 400 yards. So those are your lead points, and they go all the way down to 1,000 yards for walking and running. Okay, the gaps, the dashes. Also, we divide the 100-yard spacing with a intermediate aiming point, like between 100 and 400 and 500, we only have one, so it says 450. As the distance increases, the distance between these gaps, or I should say 100 yards, is actually larger. As you can see here, it's this wide, and down here you see how wide it is. So we put in more aiming points. Okay, get to that? So for instance, between 1,000 and 1,100, we have 4 aiming points, and these are referred to as aiming points, okay? So we have every 25, so this is going to be 1,000 yards, 1,025, 1,050, 1,075, and that would be 1,100. So that's how those work. If you're taking a shot at longer distance, we also allow you to adjust for wind very precisely. Remember, every one of these gaps and every one of these dashes is 10 inches at the given distance. Some scope reticles, they'll put leads in miles per hour, 5 mile an hour wind, 10 mile an hour wind, whatever. Well, how do you know it's a 5 or 10 mile an hour wind? You don't. Is it a full value? You don't. You just take a guess. We used to call that Kentucky windage, now they call it swag and wag, wild ass guess, scientific wild ass guess. It's just a guess. You will never know. The key thing to know is, or key thing to be able to do is, if you take a shot, you're aiming here, center mass on your target, and your bullet hits over here, is to be able to adjust quickly and repeatedly, a definitive aiming point. So every one of these gaps and every one of these dashes is 10 inches at the given distance. 10 inches is face on a man facing you straight on, it's smaller than his chest, or it's about the width of a man, okay? So they're very repeatable and they're very precise for what they're intended to do. So if your bullet hits out here and you take the shot at 1,000 yards, you're aiming here, you would go over 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks. That's your aiming point. If it was in the middle, a gap, you'd call it a half a click. We do not add the halves as we go out. So if your bullet hits right here, just before the 5, remember this is your indicator for 5 clicks, quick count. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, that's your aiming point. If it ended up somewhere down here, you'd go 4.5 over to the right. 0.1, if it was right here, 0.2, let's say it ended right here. So it'd be 4.5 clicks as your aiming point on your windage, and you'd be 2 clicks down. That would take you right there to where the bullet impacted. That's your aiming point. Very quick and very precise. Okay? So next thing we'll go into is mils versus the rule of 10 at distance. So go ahead and stop that real quick.